Hey nerds, it's Cubbie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking Ironheart. The final episodes of Ironheart just dropped yesterday, and I have to say, I think it absolutely proved the haters wrong. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these haters chose not to see the show before it even dropped, have not seen the show, will not see the show, but yep, online, it's just the most annoying thing. Just give the show a chance, okay? Was it a perfect season? No. But compared to the recent Marvel shows Secret Invasion, this is easily a top 5 MCU series contender for me. So today, we're breaking it all down. What did the show get right? What did they fumble? The Easter eggs you might have missed, and where this could lead us in the MCU. Now, let me just go on the record in saying that I commented positive comments under Marvel's posts, and they completely roasted me in the comment section, but I don't care. I gave the show a chance, and I think it's really, really good. All right. First off, let's talk about what worked. The parallels between Riri Williams and Tony Stark were so intentional. Now, this was also one of the biggest complaints because Riri does technically throw a jab at Tony Stark, saying he only was who he was because he was a billionaire. But we do see Riri building her suit in her garage, having to start back at ground zero, which shows that even with limited tools and raw genius, she can do it the same way Tony did in the cave back in Iron Man 1. You guys know the quote.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave!
Second, her panic attacks, which to me was pretty much a total callback to Iron Man 3, which shows it's not just surface level. Because honestly, I wonder sometimes, do these superheroes have PTSD? Like, they're putting their life on the line all the time in dangerous situations. Their flight or fight is always activated. How do they deal with it? So I think giving Riri and Tony this chance to show that they do have PTSD, they are suffering with panic attacks, it comes with the job. I think that's such a great storyline. So I did love to see this little connection between Riri and Tony. And you guys, the moment we've all been waiting for, Festo is in the MCU. Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, absolutely crushed it. He felt a mix of chaos. He was a mix of chaos, creepy, sometimes weirdly charming. Now, one of the things that I didn't like is that, yes, he offers Riri a deal for the life she wants in exchange for something she won't miss, which is basically the classic Mephisto manipulation because he used it on Parker too. Didn't like that Riri took that deal. That was one of the flaws for me. Now, back to what worked. The acting across the board, top tier. I thought Dominique Thorne was so brilliant in this. She brought the heart, intelligence, and a real depth to Riri that we didn't get in Wakanda Forever. And Anthony Ramos really surprised me because this is, I think, one of the first times that I know he's been in the Heights, Hamilton, but this is the first time that I've seen him like act. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant in how complex the hood became later on in the second half of the show. Natalie, the AI, I love that they gave her a real human persona, a real personality. And it kind of seemed like she was dealing with emotions there for a second, but she is AI. But she was funny, useful, and I don't think she was ever too over the top. I thought it was perfect. The last thing I want to mention, that White Castle fight scene. Hands down, one of the best and funniest sequences I think I've seen in Marvel TV. That was so good. All right, now this is my favorite part, the fun part, the Easter eggs. Marvel dropped some serious lore in this show, and I'm curious to see how it sets us up for future things. So these are things you might have missed. First, we did see a news broadcast called Obadiah Stane a mentor to Stark. What the hell was that? We know he was the villain, but a mentor to Stark. I don't think Tony Stark needed a mentor, maybe besides his father figure, but there's zero mention of him trying to kill Tony in Iron Man 1. So that really shows how S.H.I.E.L.D. has covered it up, the story, where they blamed his death on a plane crash. But I did love that his son knew the truth. I think that was a good catalyst for his story in this show too. Second, Natalie tells Riri to just call Shuri up, which was a tie-in to Wakanda Forever. And it kind of reminds me of that meme with Kris Jenner. What if we just called Taylor up?
What would happen if you just called Taylor up?
But yeah, I want to see if that dynamic between Riri and Shuri still exists. This does take place 6 months after Wakanda Forever. The third one, Zelma Stanton, who helps Riri with the magic sides of things. She does mention Kamar-Taj as her reach school, which we did see that school in Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange and Wanda, and it is where much of these sorcerers go to learn their magic. It even says that her mom, Madeline, dropped out of there. So I wonder if there's more storyline there. Maybe this is a way to bring back Strange into the MCU. But yeah, I hope we see more witches. They also help Riri come up with the story of Dormammu. And there's even this like hilarious line where she's joking that Dormammu might want to eat the planet, which oh, sounds like Galactus, right? We're on our way to Fantastic Four first steps. So is this a nod? Maybe they're just throwing a little subtle jab to what's coming. And finally, yes, Mephisto does appear again. This is the highlight. I think I've seen the Marvel fans, good and bad, talk about Mephisto like it's the ultimate hype for them that Mephisto has entered the MCU. This has been an ongoing conversation for years, thinking he was going to pop up in so many different Marvel TV shows or films, but now he's officially in there. And again, I thought Sacha Baron Cohen, creepy, smooth talking vibe. It fit perfectly for me, Mephisto in his human form. I just, yeah, again, going back to the bargain, it's basically like shaking hands with the devil, making a deal with the devil himself, which does remind me that Zelma also does compare like Parker's demonic scars to what's his Casalius from Doctor Strange. I might be butchering that name, but it does also tease the dark dimension and Dormammu's influence. So that was a really good Easter egg. And I don't know why, but like my tism makes me say, Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Like every day. Now, this is my favorite Easter egg, but Riri's new suit. She rebuilds it using her stepdad's 1972 Barracuda. She also has a magical power cord that, thanks to Zelma spells, can help. Well, was it a thanks? I don't know. It couldn't handle the magic and Natalie, so I don't know if I should say it was a good thing. But anyways, the red and black armor with the heart-shaped arc reactor, that's pretty much pulled straight from the comics, so I did love seeing Riri get a comic accurate suit because most people I think will recognize that silhouette. And now last, because there are some flaws in this, and contrary to what people say, I am not paid by Marvel. But if Marvel is paying, what's up? I'm ready to accept. All right. What didn't work? I thought there were some really cheap, useless writing plot holes. Like, for instance, Joe leaving the key under the mat at his secret garage. I mean, come on. The guy's mad at Riri for ruining his undercover work. That's pretty much the premise of his storyline in the entire second half. So now he's just going to leave a key under the mat for people to break in. That didn't make sense to me. I thought it was just very convenient to the plot. Now, I am excited for the witches, but where did the witches come from? I mean, as far as I know, as far as I can recall from this first half, there was no setup for witches, or maybe not even a hint or nod at them. So they just kind of appeared when it felt like the writers needed a magical solution. It was a little bit lazy and maybe felt like a shortcut. And I know I touched on this already, but Riri taking Mephisto's deal, I was just it's such a love-hate relationship with Riri in this season because she is a hero, but she's doing criminal work and then she's taking that deal. And I get it. This season, the themes for this season were Riri's grieving, she's overwhelmed, and yes, being a genius is probably a blessing, but it's probably an absolute hindrance at times. So we see her wrestle with those things back and forth, but it just felt like she didn't have any hesitation or any inner conflict. So I wanted to see her wrestle with that more, but turns out no. The deal is accepted, but I get it. She loves Natalie. Natalie's her best friend. I love Natalie as the AI, but I think it kind of maybe just undercut how smart and layer she's been all season because you're a genius. You know, nothing should come back from the dead. I mean, that's been a storyline for 1,000 shows. Anyways, those are my flaws. Now, with Mephisto in play, I think the MCU just opened the door to a lot more dark storylines. So maybe Midnight Suns, maybe the Young Avengers, which was hinted at with Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel. But one of my other favorite theories is that Shea Couleé's character Slug might become Shade, which is the first drag queen superhero in the Marvel comics. And honestly, I think right now that would probably be iconic. I don't know if she would get her own show, but maybe she could appear. I don't know if there's an Ironheart too. I don't know what's happening. But I think that'd be interesting to see her reappear somewhere like that. Last, that post-credit teaser. This kind of irked me a little bit too. Parker finds Zelma Stanton, which is Riri's magical mentor. Really didn't like how she was just like, Parker was like, show me some magic. And she's like, okay, cutscene. I'm like, In all that time she was helping her build the suit, did she never see Parker or have any idea who he was? Or does she know? But the fact that you're just like, okay, keep some secrets, keep some magic around it, you know? But no, she was willing to just jump in and give that to him. Okay, so with all that being said, my final take, Ironheart gets a solid 8 out of 10 Ironhearts from me. It definitely wasn't flawless, but it did have heart, high stakes action. I loved the action in here so much. The CGI looked great. Thank goodness. Some of it lately has not been that good. Hello, the third eye on Doctor Strange was terrible. But I definitely think this was a really great push for the MCU going forward. This also does end phase 5 for them. Shout out Dominique and Anthony. You guys absolutely delivered. Again, Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto, I thought was just so perfect and unforgettable. I can't wait to see when he takes like his monster form. The Easter eggs were great. That White Castle fight was so elite. It was so elite. But again, this is just what I think. What did you think of the Ironheart finale? What did you think of the Ironheart series as a whole? Are you excited for the possibility of more Slug? Do you think RiRi made the right decision? I don't know. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it, okay? And if you love Marvel, the deep dives, fan theories, and pop culture, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for the notifications. Again, I'm Cubbie, and for right now, I think that's all I got.